Hello everybody and welcome back to Pokemon White 2. So, in the last part we started once again exploring around the other portions of the Relic Passage. And we're now going to be traveling through this room of the passage, where we actually do see some where is probably the only section of the passage where there is indeed water. Yeah, which of course means that now we can encounter actual water types in here. Water types in here. Okay, everyone. Now, as for this section of the Relic Passage. Now, here's where not only can we still find the same Pokemon that we could before, within the previous room, but now here's where you can find wild Renegades. Yeah, the Pokemon that we just encountered from that trainer in the previous room. Yeah, how about that, And then as for the Pokemon that you can find in the water. Now we still have Basculin, Marill, and Azumarill while just surfing. Then as for fishing, I believe this is the first area within the Black 2. Now I believe this is the first area in Black 2 White 2 where you'll be able to fish out not Polytoads, but the other one for Polyrafts. Yeah, that is if you don't really want to bother just leveling up a Poliwag, then simply just utilize a Water Stone on a Poliwhirl. Yeah. But anyways, now, and I guess as we are in the last now, and considering that we've now reached the last room of the Relic Passage, now I guess I should say this, and I suppose I should say this right now too. Now the Relic Passage is not only connected to the Castelia sewers, which is of course connected to Castelia City, but it is also connected to Driftvale City. Yeah, and then the Relic Passage is also connected to another like area, area. Yeah, and that is something that you are definitely gonna see once we actually see the actual. Now, once we actually see the actual entrance to that place. Yeah. But anyways, everyone. Anyways, everyone. Now, since I am just gonna be facing off against the rest of the trainers in this room, while also seeing which sort of items that we can get here, and possibly trying to find it, and possibly this time trying to find an Onix. Yeah, I may as well once again continue on with the Pokemon anime appearances. So next up on the list is Joltik. Now, within the entirety of the Unova anime, Joltik only showed up 6 times. Yeah, only 6 times that Joltik has ever shown up. And then after that, Joltik did not show up 1 time within the entirety of the Kalos, and also the Alola series. Joltik was finally brought back in Journeys, where it only got free like appearances, and then for a Horizons for Joltik also showed up. Joltik also showed up 3 times. So essentially, in total, Joltik has only shown up 12 times in the entirety of the Universe anime. Yeah, I get that Joltik obviously. Yeah, I get that Joltik is obviously not that popular of a Pokemon. But honestly, Joltik could definitely get more appearances than that. But anyways, oh, here he is, Onix. There we go. We finally found him. All right, now I can, of course, try to actually get this bitch. But however, as you may know, Onix's capture rate is very on the low side. So getting this Onix, yeah, of course, getting at least one Onix, yeah, it may take you some time. So make sure you of course make sure you have enough Pokeballs on you. Yeah, especially Great Balls and especially like Ultra Balls. But anyways, anyways, everyone. Now next up on the list is Magnezone. Okay, so now starting off. Magnezone only now starting off during the entirety of the Sinnoh series, Magnezone only showed up in for one episode and in one movie. But then, starting with the Universe anime, you will see a Magnezone at least 2 to 3 times per series. So yeah. While Magnezone doesn't get that many appearances, but for Magnezone, that has at least shown up within every series ever since Sinnoh. So yeah. At the very least, Magnezone gets to be lucky on that regard. Yeah. But anyways, there we go. Now we've caught Onix, the rock snake Pokemon. Yeah, as you can obviously tell that this Onix. Yeah, as you can obviously tell that Onix are indeed they are indeed snakes that they're of course are made of rocks. Yeah. But anyways everyone, now next up on the list is Ferocity. Now, Ferocity, even to this day, still doesn't get that many appearances. Where in the Universe series, Ferocity only showed up 1 time. Only once. Then it got to show up twice. Then it got to show up 2 more times. 2 times within Journeys. Well, more so because it was utilized because. Well, it was more so that one Ferocity that was utilized by the Macrocosmos during the Darkest Day arc. And then after that, Ferocity got to show up at least once within a Horizon so far. So yeah, that's only 4. That is only 4 appearances. That is only 4 appearances that Ferocity has ever gotten right now. Yeah, and again, it took, and of course, as you can tell, yeah, it definitely took them until freaking journeys for them to finally bring back a ferocity after an only god for one like after an only god for one like after only god one appearance within the entirety of the universe series. So yeah, that shows you something. But anyways, everyone. Now, as you'll see, yeah, now we are for once again back in the very first room that we actually entered, the relic passage from the that we actually first discovered within the Castelia sewers. So yeah, now if you want to jump off the ledges, so that you can go back to the Castelia sewers, then I suppose you can. But then you would have to utilize, either an escape or you would then have to utilize either like an escape rope. Or if you don't have one, then you may have to go back out into Castelia City, then fly back to Driftveil City. Yeah. So yeah. Definitely keep that in mind as soon as you are doing that. Oh yeah, that's right. And if you go down to that ledge as well, yeah, you definitely, yeah, you can now. You can actually get that max repel. But however, as soon as you do that, however, if you do, then you are essentially forced to utilize either an escape rope or full light back. To Driftveil City from Castelia City, or even use Dig. Oh yeah, now we also got this. Okay, so next medal we get is the Dowsing Specialist. Now I believe we get this. We get that medal when you have gotten at least either 5 or 10 hidden items. But anyways, everyone, yeah, now this right here is one actually I forgot to show off. One I forgot to show off previously. Now, where during my off-screen training before I got to the gym, before I challenged the Driftveil gym, I managed to get myself a cast form. Yeah, I guess that is something that I could have also shown off, but considering that we were there at the gym for at least a 20, yeah, but considering that we were at the gym for at least 20 minutes, yeah, I decided to wait upon that until either the previous video or this one. But since I forgot to do that within the previous video, yeah, I decided to show it off here instead. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Now, after we defeat this trainer and move that once we move over that boulder over there, then we are going to discover that the other entrance to an area that already have been to as well. Yeah. But anyways, anyways, everyone. Now continuing on our list is Nose Pass. Now during the entirety of the Hoenn and the Sinnoh anime, Nose Pass definitely got Nose Pass only got a few appearances. after the start of anime, the appearances of Nose Pass just like completely dropped until it finally got to be brought back within our journeys. But it was more so, more so the Arceus Chronicles that was when they decided to bring back Nose Pass. And but then the appearances of Nose Pass started to skyrocket thanks to the Horizon Voltaglers within Pokemon Horizons. Actually, like having one. Which of course meant that we actually got to see Nose Pass on a more like frequent basis. So yeah, huzzah for that, huh? But anyways, everyone, now as you can see as well, now that my Growlithe as I reach level 34, I am finally gonna be teaching my Growlithe Flamethrower. Yeah, which is definitely a move I'm definitely gonna be having my Growlithe learn. I mean, why not? Considering that it is freaking a full flamethrower, why not? So, yeah. But anyways, everyone. Now at this point, I just need to make sure that my team is all fully healed up again. Okay, there we go. And now over here, so I guess there's a red shard here, and there it is right there. Now here we have ourselves the other entrance, which just so happens to be which also happens to be the Relic Castle maze. So yeah, now we are finally back here again. But however, unlike last time, it really isn't really that much of a maze. Yeah, only the last few portions of the maze that was kept intact. Yeah, now, which includes the area where we got to encounter a certain a Pokemon there. So yeah, now we have to wonder if we can actually get this Pokemon again. Yeah. But anyways, everyone, and now it's the Pokemon that we can now get here. Now, unlike previously, where we got to encounter wild Coppergrigus. But however, this time now, while we can still encounter Sandslash and Krogarox, we can still encounter Sandos and Yamask. And then as for the actual ending of the maze, now as you've been seeing, instead of Claydolls, this time we find them. This time we can find them from Baltoys. So yeah, like I said, getting your very own Baltoy was definitely gonna be a lot more closer than you think. Yeah, yeah, and now we can indeed utilize our own. although that is if we really want to. But anyways, now if we go over here, yeah, now I guess that's another Ultra Ball. Oh yeah, now you've been seen as well. Yeah, and of course the other portions of the maze has been crowded with sand too. Has been entirely filled up with sand. But anyways, and there it is again. So as with that said, that shall be all I am gonna do for this part. And so the next one, I'll see you guys next time.